Good morning from Stockholm. I am in Sweden, not for the first time. This is not my first time in the country, but this is my first time in the capital city. I am at the hotel. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning right now, and it is an absolutely beautiful day today. The sun is out, the sky is blue, and the ground is covered in snow. It is pretty frigid though, especially coming from the Netherlands. By comparison, it's a lot colder. This is the current temperature outside, in Celsius of course, but with the sun and as long as there's not too terribly much wind, it's not too bad actually, and I feel like it fits the atmosphere of the city so much and what I expected from Stockholm. I'm actually only here for a couple of short days. My sister happened to be passing through Stockholm and she asked if I wanted to come and meet her here. So of course I said yes. I've never been to Stockholm. I love sister time whenever I can get it, and I don't get it as often these days as I would love to. So I am here crashing at her hotel and enjoying some amazing February days in this city. All in all, I have about 2.5 days in the city. I already leave tomorrow and I actually arrived yesterday. So before we get started on today, let me show you what I got up to yesterday. The very first thing that I wanted to do when I got here was to see the Gamla stan, or Old Town. So this is the oldest part of Stockholm. It dates back to the 13th century, and it's basically an island at the center of what is now considered Stockholm, which is much, much larger. And it's home to many of the historical landmarks that Stockholm is famous for. So it's home to the Royal Palace. It has Stockholm's oldest cathedral, which is the Storkyrkan. I hope I'm saying that somewhat correctly. It's also where you find the Riddarholmen Church, which is where a lot of the Swedish royalty and monarchs have been buried. There's also a very famous alleyway, street, I don't know exactly what you would call it, but it's known as Stockholm's narrowest street. And it's called the Martin Trotsigsgrand. And it is such a thin, narrow, short little alleyway, but it's become very famous because it feels so medieval. It feels very much like stepping back in time. And actually, if I hadn't known it was there, I would have just walked right past it. We also stopped for a Fika. So this is one of my favorite things that I know about Swedish culture. Granted, I don't know that many things about Swedish culture yet, but a Fika is a apparently very almost sacred, I guess, sort of cultural custom in Sweden. It's a coffee break, but it's more than a coffee break. How I understand it is that you have Fika with somebody. It's a social sort of thing, but you have coffee and you also have a sweet treat of some sort, and you just have like an actual proper pause. So whereas in other places, a coffee break might be like a short espresso really quickly at the bar, or it might be something you do kind of by yourself on the go, a takeaway, you know, coffee or whatever. Here, it's very much, as I understand it, a pause. You sit down, you have a snack, you talk, and really savor the moment. And that is very much something that is encouraged here for tourists as well as locals. We didn't exactly do it in maybe the local way. We sampled more pastries than I think maybe you typically do. And we also had pastries again at our dinner. So we kind of had like a double Fika. A Fika that was actually a coffee break, and then more pastries at dinner. But there are so many pastries we want to try here, and there are so many, like every place we've gone into, coffee place or otherwise, or just looked in the window, we want to try everything. So, you know, we have to maximize our time. We're only here for 2.5 days. So hopefully any Swedish people who might be watching this don't judge me too hard for that. This morning, I have so many things that are options to do, but I don't actually have a concrete plan. I might go back to Gamla stan this morning and walk around a bit because there are a few things that I didn't really get a good look at yesterday because we actually were already losing sun. Sunset right now in the first week of February here in Stockholm is around 4 p.m. We didn't get the best views of the Royal Palace yesterday, so I kind of want to kind of circle around there and see if I can get some better views. And there's a main square and everything that I'd really like to check out. So hopefully I will be able to get lots of fun shots today. love these little medieval streets. So I have walked past the Royal Parliament building, the little island that has that, onto the main island of Gamlastan. And now I'm doing just a tiny little loop around so I can see a very famous plaza, Stortorget. There are definitely some other tourists here as well, but it's off-peak season and it is frigid. Like you feel, I think it's like -9 now, but you feel it. I don't know if you can see my breath, but I can see my breath. But it is so worth it. Look at this. I feel like this will be a lot more crowded in the peak season for tourism, and I'm just waltzing around. But let's go where there are more people. This is sun. So I have been outside for like more than 2 hours now, just walking around, enjoying myself, shopping, whatever, but I am freezing. And my camera batteries are starting to die one by one. So I'm going to find some place to stop for a coffee and maybe a little snack. Crossed over the bridge to the island of Sodermalm, which is also where the hipster district is, but I don't really have a lot of time to go deep into the island and explore. So I'm just going to go along the coast here because there's a beautiful view. I'm actually coming up on it right now. All right, I am officially frozen. Not gonna have time to explore Sodermalm very much, but maybe I'll come back if we have time. I think my sister is almost done with the thing that she had to do today, so I'm going to head back and see what she wants to do this evening. One thing I have not really mentioned so far is that in addition to all the snow, there are ice patches and they blend with the like pavement and sidewalk. The color, I don't know why I can't see a lot of the ice, and it's hard to tell sometimes what is ice and what is snow and what is just pavement. So it's a bit of an adventure. I have snow boots, but they're not the grippiest. They are warm though, which, you know, is I guess the most important thing. I cannot begin to describe how good that sun feels. It's so nice and warm. I feel like I'm actually melting under the sun, and the wind is kind of covered here, so this is the most comfortable I've been in a very long time this afternoon. I cannot wait to warm up inside. But I gotta say, the trip is not over, but I'm sold on Stockholm in winter. I was a little bit nervous going the first days of February to a city this far north and this cold, but there is just nothing so magical as the snow and the ice. If you're not too scared of the cold, and if you bundle, then it is so worth it. I just wish I could stay longer. All right, I am back at the hotel, warming up, starting to get feeling in my extremities again. I'm gonna take a few minutes to recharge, but more importantly than myself recharging, I have to recharge my batteries. This has happened to me before. When I went to Montreal at the end of 2019, I think, it was super, super cold, like minus 30 Celsius. And my camera batteries just died instantly. Today was not quite so cold, but my batteries did hold on. I was able to record, I was able to walk around a lot. I really did not go inside for very much of the afternoon and morning at all. I have 3 camera batteries for this camera. I'm recording on my Canon G7X because I didn't want to bring my Sony, it's a little bit bigger. So I brought my little camera and I have 3 batteries for this one, and literally I'm on the 3rd battery and I think it's about ready to die. So I'm mostly recharging batteries, but also recharging a bit myself and warming up. And then my sister's gonna meet me here back at the hotel, and then we're gonna see what we're gonna do. I don't think we're gonna do anything terribly adventurous. I was thinking about doing a museum this afternoon, but the time just kind of got away from me, and museums here close, I think most of them, at least the ones I was looking at, close at 5 p.m. I just decided it was probably more interesting, I think, for me to walk around, to see stuff, to see views. Like, this is one of my favorite parts of cities. I love visiting stuff, and I love like going inside historical landmarks and stuff, like the palace I consider visiting. But honestly, my favorite thing about going to a new city is just to have time to walk, to taste things, to just kind of get the ambiance of the city overall. So because I have such an express trip this time, it's only 2.5 days, I decided that I wanted to spend more time exploring the city and just seeing stuff and experiencing stuff. It's almost 3:30 now, so we have a little bit more sun left, maybe about 30-40 minutes of proper sun, and then it'll be dusk and very quickly dark after that. So maybe we will go out and get another Fika, because I'm not sure my sister has been able to have one today. Something interesting that I forgot to mention before, but the word Fika, I read that it's a slang inversion of the word, the Swedish word for coffee, which I found particularly interesting as a French speaker, because you'll know this if you speak French, but there's I guess it's not really new anymore. I'm not actually sure what generation it was, the cool new slang, but very much for I think my generation and below, millennial, Gen Z sort of generations, it became very popular to use verlan, which is inverted words, and there's lots of examples of that throughout the French language. So that was kind of interesting. I don't know if that's more commonplace in other examples in Swedish language, if there's lots of slang words that do that, or if it's really just Fika is like the prime example of that, but I found it particularly interesting. But yeah, I would never say no to another pastry, even though I'm basically living on pastries at this point. Again, this is my vacation, so if I want to live on pastries for 2.5 days, I'll live on pastries. Good morning. It is my second and last day in Stockholm. I cannot believe how fast this trip has gone by. I know it was only 2.5 days, so it's fast by definition, but it feels like I have barely scratched the surface of this city. Because really I have. What we're not gonna do is think about all the things that I can't do because I don't have time or they're not open or whatever, and we're gonna think about what I can see today. It is almost 10 o'clock in the morning. I have done some stuff here at the hotel, packed up all that stuff, had a nice big breakfast, and I need to go to the Arlanda Express around, I think 1:30ish. So I really don't have a ton of time, but I wanted to see if I could like squeeze in a little museum. Everybody has recommended the Vasa Museum, but I'm more interested in the Swedish History Museum. And the History Museum does not open until 11. And I know that doesn't leave me a ton of time to actually visit the museum, but I want to do it. And I think I can still have a good visit in like an hour and 15, maybe an hour and a half before I grab another Fika with my sister. And then I will head to the Arlanda Express. And it's okay if I get the train a little bit later because that's already giving me a lot of time at the airport that I probably don't need. I'm the type of person who wants to get to the airport super, super early. And I'm trying slowly but surely to get myself on a better habit of not having so much spare time at the airport. That's not good advice for people who tend to run late. Don't listen to me there because running late for a flight is not a good idea at all. But I'm the type of person who gets there way too early and then just has like 2 hours to kill. And I don't want to do that this time because this trip is so short. I have no hours to spare like that. So I'm going to go for a little walk. It does look pretty chilly out there today, but I do think it's not quite as cold as yesterday. I'm seeing some flakes, but I don't know that it's actually snowing. We're gonna find out. But I will do a nice little weavy walk to get to the museum and then hopefully be like among the first people who actually enters the museum. And then I will maximize my hour and a bit, have a nice little museum morning.
I am walking through the Kungsträdgården, or King's Garden, and they're absolutely beautiful. I read that they were supposed to be especially beautiful in the spring when they have cherry blossoms, but covered in snow, it's very magical. And it is indeed, as you can see, actively snowing as well.